Hello everyone, this is Ashwin. Welcome to this episode in which we are going to understand how to install C and C++ with GCC compiler on Windows platform. So let us get started. I'm going to use an implementation of compiler known as MinGW, and to be very specific, I'm going to use a fork of that MinGW. It is known as MinGW W64. And let us go ahead and visit that URL. So let's copy it, open the browser, and in this browser I'm going to paste the homepage URL of MinGW W64. So let us go ahead and install MinGW. Now there must be a section for downloads. So here we have the download section, and let us see what we can install. So I guess we have to install here MinGW builds for Windows. Okay. So the heart of MinGW W64 project is headers and support libraries to run the output of GCC on Windows. Since MinGW W64 is neither the home of GCC nor the Ubuntu, several sets of installation packages which combine them are available. In addition, the sources are available, but most people will want to go grab the binaries directly. So we can go ahead and grab the binaries. Let us see how to install it on Windows. So here we have the version, and let us see if there is any version for Windows. Yeah, I could see actually one version for Windows, which is MinGW W64 builds. Okay. So if I click this and click here on the SourceForge, it should actually download MinGW W64 for 32 and 64-bit Windows. Okay, I guess we have the installation file, and let us open the downloads folder, and let me remove the rest of the stuff. Let's go ahead and install this MinGW W64. Basically, it will install a version of GCC compiler on Windows platform. So it reads, welcome to MinGW W64 installation. Let us go ahead and install it. Okay, now it is actually asking us the details of installation. And here I'm going to choose x86 underscore 64. And here I'm going to choose the POSIX library. Okay. And I'm going to keep everything as it is. Okay. So there are options for earlier versions too, but we are going to install the latest one. Now let us go ahead and click next and let us see what happens. Okay, here is the destination folder. So it reads C colon program files MinGW W64 x86 underscore 64 hyphen 8.1.0 POSIX underscore SSH hyphen something. Okay. So we are just going to go ahead and remember this particular destination folder because we are going to need it. And if I click next now, it is going to launch the installation process. Basically, it is going to copy the file from that compressed file to the local disk of my Windows computer. And it is definitely going to take quite a while for this installation to finish. So I'm going to skip the part where we are going to wait for this installation to finish. So the installation is complete, and let us go ahead. Okay, let us click finish. So it is not going to pop up any sort of fancy program. We will have to browse the file system now in order to locate where it has been installed. I hope that you have noted down the directory of installation. So I have been working with this tool for quite some time now, and I remember the directory where it installs MinGW64 by default. So we have to go to C colon and program files, and here we have to check for MinGW64. Yes, here we have the MinGW W64. And here we will have one directory for every version and every architecture. So we have here combination of architecture as well as version as well as thread model. So the computer architecture is x86-64, the version is 8.1.0 and the thread model is POSIX. And after that also we had a couple of options. So all that option, everything is going to have a single directory. So if you actually choose to install it again with some other option, then it is going to create another directory in the same directory MinGW W64. Now in this particular directory, there is a directory known as MinGW W64, and here we will have the bin directory where we are going to find the GCC compiler. So if you search, then you will find the files for GCC and GCC AR, okay, and G++. So these are the files that are going to compile your C and C++ program for your x86 64-bit system. So let me copy this entire directory path. Let me minimize everything. Now go to this PC or type in here this PC and right click this, click properties. Now here you can go to the advanced system settings and click here environment variables. So there is a variable in the user variables for Ashwin. It is known as path. So double click that and click new. And here you can go ahead and paste that particular path. Click OK. Go to the system variables to double click path and click new and paste here the path. Click OK. Again click OK. OK. And close everything. So I'm going to close all the directories. And now we are ready to go with GCC on Windows. So the best way to check that is go to command prompt. So this is the command prompt of Windows, and I will just type in GCC -- version. So it is going to show me the version. It is GCC x86-64, POSIX and SEH revision 0, built by MinGW W64 project. Similarly, G++ -- version. And it is going to show us the similar information for G++ compiler also. So GCC is the compiler for C and G++ is the compiler for your C++ programs. You can even run them in PowerShell. So this is the PowerShell interface for Windows. I will say GCC -- version, and it is going to return the same information plus G++ -- version. Let us clear this. Has it installed also the CC compiler? Let us check version. No, CC is not recognized, and C++. Okay, so I guess it has installed the C++ compiler also -- version. Okay, it is pointing to the same file. Now Windows's command prompt as well as PowerShells are okay tool, but if you are more familiar with Unix-like operating systems like Mac OS or FreeBSD or Debian distributions of Linux like Ubuntu, Debian, and Raspberry Pi OS, then you will not be really very much comfortable with PowerShell or command prompt. You can then go ahead and install a tool known as Cygwin. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL. This is the homepage of Cygwin tool, and I will paste it here. Let us go ahead and download that Cygwin tool. And here must be the installation instructions for Windows. Okay, so here we have the setup file for x86-64, and it has instantly downloaded. Let us run it. So it must be some sort of standard installation wizard. So it is taking some time to launch it. So it is asking me for admin privileges. And okay, so this is the Cygwin. Wow. So this is the setup version 2.9.09. So I'm not sure what it means. So is it the version for the installer package, or let us see what it is. So install from internet. Okay, so I'm going to say install from internet, and let us go ahead and install it on Cygwin 64. And I'm going to install it for all users, and I already provided the admin privileges. So it shouldn't ask me again for admin privileges. Okay, so it is actually asking me for the local package directory. Probably it is going to go ahead and download from the internet all the files required for this. Okay, so it is asking me for the mirror site, and it has highlighted one mirror. So I'm going to download it from that mirror. Okay, cool. It is parsing, or is it downloading? I'm not sure. Oh, wow. So we have got here the Cygwin setup. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and click next. So basically it is going to install all the utilities that are Linux like utilities for Windows. So I will click next and let it go ahead and install it. Okay. And probably it is going to take some time for the installation to finish because the progress is very, very slow. So it is still downloading. It is not actually installing anything. So I guess this entire process is going to take some time for download and installation to finish. So I'm just going to skip to the part where it has finished downloading and the installation. So it seems to have finished the installation process, and it took quite a while for it to download and install all the required utilities. So now I'm going to add the icon of Cygwin to the start menu, and then I'm going to click finish. And here we can see the symbol of Cygwin 64 terminal. Now we have got MinGW W64 for GCC and Cygwin, which is a command line like tool for Windows system. So basically it emulates a lot of commands of Unix like systems on Windows operating system. Since I have been programming with this Linux stuff for last 20 years, I naturally feel more comfortable with Linux or Unix like environment. Now I'm going to go to the directory where I have stored the sample files. In case you are wondering where to find this particular file as well as the sample file, then please check the description section of this episode and you are going to find this file. Basically, I have uploaded this file and all the other examples on the GitHub repository, and I'm just going to browse through the local copy of that. So here we have the local copy of everything. So I'm going to close it for a moment and I'm going to say 00 setup, and I'm going to move all the files to this particular directory so that it will be easier for you. So let me reopen that file because we are yet to install a few more programs, and let me copy this. Now I will open that Cygwin 64 utility. So let me double click this, and here we have the command prompt of Cygwin 64. Now let me increase the font size so that you all can see what is being typed by me. And here we can type in the commands like echo dollar shell, and it is going to tell us what shell it is using, and pwd. So it is the present working directory. So let me clear it. So this is simply Unix like interface, and let us switch to the directory where I am storing everything. And now if I hit enter, it should actually take me to that directory. No. Okay, so probably I will have to provide single quotes or double quotes, I don't know. Okay, so now we are in the tutorials directory. So pwd, and here we have the path of the directory where we have stored all the examples, and the file where the download is mentioned. Now I will show you these two files. So this one is prog00.c and prog00.cpp, and we can see the contents of these files by running the cat utility. So prog00.c, and these are the contents of this C file. Similarly, we have cpp file like this. Now I'm going to tell you how to compile and execute the programs with GCC and Cygwin. So now first of all, we need to type in the command for compilation, and that command is gcc WALL. W is capital, it means that enable all the warnings. STD, it stands for C standard. So I'm going to say C2X, and the name of the file, it is prog00.c. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this command and paste it here, and it is going to compile that file, and let us see what happens. Okay, it says that unrecognized command line option. So I will delete this command line option. So let it compile that file. Okay, it seems that the file has been compiled, and let me delete that command line option from here too. So after the file has been compiled, it will automatically generate an executable file, and we can see that executable file probably here in that directory a.exe, and I can just type in here ./a.exe, and it should run that program. So here we can see the output hello world from a.exe. So in Unix like systems, it generates a.out. So here in Windows, it generates a.exe. Now I can just go ahead and delete rm a.exe, and that file has been removed from this particular directory. Now I will compile that C++ program that we were talking about, and here is the command for compilation. So g++ -wall and std equals to C++20. And if I hit enter, it should, okay, again, it is not actually recognizing C++20. So let us say C++2a. And if I hit enter, it should be able to compile that program without any hitch. So let me copy this, and let us go ahead and yes, this is awesome. So we have compiled a C++ program with G++ compiler, and we can also, I guess, use C++ program to compile it. C++. Or lowercase c++, because I guess in Windows the uppercase and lowercase doesn't matter. So it must have generated an exe file a.exe, and we can just run that a.exe /a.exe, and it is able to execute that program and print hello world for us in this directory. So I will just go ahead and copy this and paste it here so that you can use it for your further reference. Let me clear the screen. And so this is all about downloading MinGibW W64 compiler and Cygwin environment, and you will have the Unix-like programming feel. Now you can also use some sort of IDE. So the very first IDE that we are going to use is CodeBlocks. So let me go ahead and download the setup for that CodeBlocks. Let's open a browser window like this and let us paste it here. And let us go ahead and download the CodeBlocks IDE. And let us download the nightly build. Now I don't see any download stuff. Okay, so here we have the download the binary release. Sorry, we are not going to download a nightly build because it might be unstable. So let us go ahead and download the binary release. Okay, here we have the version for Windows XP Vista 7, 8.x and 10. So currently I'm using the stuff for Windows 10. I have installed Windows 10 on this computer. And here we have CodeBlocks 20.03 setup.exe. And it seems that there is a version of CodeBlocks setup file with MinGW compiler also, but we really don't want to use MinGW compiler because we already have got MinGW W64 fork of it. So we are going to go ahead and visit the sourceforge.net link for this CodeBlocks 20.03 setup.exe. And there is a setup file for non-admins also, but we are not actually going to go ahead with that. And there seems to be a zip file also, but if we are going to go ahead with this setup file because we have admin privileges, it is going to register that application in the Windows registry and it will be good for us. So I'm going to go ahead and download this thing. Okay. And another IDE for Windows that can be used with GCC is VS Code, and I'm going to demonstrate that once we are done with the current setup of the CodeBlocks. So it is now downloading the CodeBlocks IDE and it is only of 37.7 MB, and it is going to take a few moments for us to download it on this computer. As soon as the download finishes, I am going to open that download and then I am going to demonstrate how to install that particular IDE. Basically, it is an integrated development environment where you can mention the name of the compiler tools, debuggers and everything, and then you can build, compile and run your program with just a single click. And it is a very, very exciting thing. So meanwhile, let us see if we have Nano installed on this. No. So Nano is a command line based text editor, very famous in Unix-like systems. So let us exit this and let us wait for the download to finish. So the setup file for CodeBlocks 20.03 has been downloaded in the download directory, and we can open it by visiting the downloads option in our browser. And if we click that file, it is going to launch the installation process. Now it is asking me for the admin credentials. Now let me close this browser window meanwhile, and it is saying welcome to the CodeBlocks setup. So let's click next. I agree. And yes, let's install everything. So I don't use this CodeBlocks very frequently. I use VC++ and Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So for Microsoft Visual Studio Code installation and configuration with GCC, stay tuned to this episode. In the later part of this episode, we are going to set up, download, install this Visual Studio Code, as well as we are going to link it with the GCC compiler of MinGW W64 that we have just downloaded and installed. So the installation of this CodeBlocks is very fast. So it will just conclude in a moment. And yes. So now it is asking us, do you want to run CodeBlocks now? I will just go ahead and say yes, and let us see what happens. Okay, it is launching the CodeBlocks IDE. So it says that the open source cross platform IDE. So it means that it is open source as well as it can be used with various platforms. And if I click next, it should conclude the installation process. So launching is actually taking a lot of time, and okay, so I'm just going to wait for the program to respond because I don't want to interrupt the process where we are seeing that it is doing some sort of setup. Probably it is doing this because it is launching very first time. Okay, so here we have the interface of the code blocks. Now I'm going to open a file. Okay, so let us go ahead and see how we can open a file. Okay, so let me go to the desktop, and here we can access the D colon. Where is the D colon? Okay, this PC, and here we should have the D colon where I have the local copy of all of my GitHub code, and it is my GitHub. It is not your GitHub. It's everyone's GitHub. Okay, so here we have the setup, and here we have a C file. Now here we have opened a C file. Now we need to check the compiler options, and we need to set the compiler. So go to the settings and click on the compiler, and it is going to launch a window for GNU GCC compiler. Okay, so here we can see various options, and here we have the option for Microsoft Visual C++ and GNU GCC compiler. Where is the option for GNU GCC compiler? Okay, so here we have the option for GNU GCC compiler, and we can set the toolchain executables. Okay, so we have to set the compiler's installation directory. First of all, we will make a note of all the files here. Okay, so here we have to provide it the executable file for C compiler, C++ compiler, and linker for dynamic libs, which is also G++, and ar.exe, and gdb cdb debugger default, and windres.exe. So better take a screenshot of this, print screen. And the screenshot has been taken. Let me open Paint. So it's a bit weird we are using Paint for our compiler related stuff. Okay, so I'm going to keep this thing safe, and now I'm going to click auto detect. Okay, so it has auto detected the installation path for GNU GCC compiler in C colon program files mingw w64 and this directory and mingw w64, and I'm going to say okay. Okay, fine. Now we are supposed to provide the paths for all these things. Okay, so now if I click on these three dot symbol, it should actually open the bin directory, and if I say go to one directory earlier, then yeah, so I guess it has already found all the required executables, and it has automatically detected and set all those required executables. Okay, because we have got this mingw C++ and mingw GCC, this mingw w64 set of tools only in one directory, so it auto detected the directory and it automatically fetched the names of all those executables, and probably we can find all these executables in that particular folder. Okay, GCC, G++, AR. Basically, this is the linker for static libraries, and here we have windres.exe and mingw32 make.exe. Now I'm going to click OK, and here we are in the code file. Okay, and we can increase the size of the font by keeping the control key on our keyboard pressed and then scrolling the mouse wheel up or down. Okay, so here we have the program, and let us go ahead and build it. So I'm not sure how to build it. It has been quite a while since I have built anything. And if I click on build, what will happen? Will it compile the program? Yeah, I guess it is compiling the program. And here it says that the process, okay, so let us increase the size of the font here also. And it is quite possible by again the same process. You just highlight this particular section, and here we can see the build log, and just keep the control key on your keyboard pressed and scroll the mouse wheel up or down to adjust the font. It says process terminated with status 0. It means that it was successful. So it just only took 3 seconds on my modern processor to compile this program. Now, if I click this triangle symbol, green triangle, it is the run button. And then there is build and run. So we will just go ahead and click run. Okay, cool. So it is showing me hello world. So the font is quite small, but still it is actually showing us the output. And if I hit any key, it is going to continue. So the process terminated with status 0. And there is a single button for compiling and running the program. So build and run. Okay, so it has launched the executable file for that. And if I hit enter, it is going to stop. Okay, and I will just close this file now. So it automatically detected that it is a C file and automatically fed it to the right compiler. So here we can see the command line log. It is invoking gcc.exe for compiling this file. And it is automatically generating that output file program00.o. So if you visit that directory, then you will see that program00.exe and program00.o. So it's a object file probably. I don't know how this code blocks compiles everything. Now let me open the C++ file and we will compile and execute it. So this time we are not going to do anything. We will directly. So let us clear contents of the build log and let us directly go ahead and build and run in a single go. Meanwhile, let us increase the font size. So if I do this, yeah, so it is automatically detecting that it's a C++ file because we have provided the C++ extension for the program, and it is automatically using that G++ compiler. Okay, so that is cool. So this is how we can install and set up the CodeBlocks IDE on Windows, and this is how we can link that CodeBlocks IDE with a GCC compiler installed on our Windows system. Now next we are going to see how to work with Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is a very popular free IDE that is an integrated development environment by Microsoft for the programming languages like C, C++, C#, and Python. It supports many other programming languages and scripting languages. So let us see how to download it and how to install it. Code.visualstudio.com is the URL of the downloadable page of this IDE, and it is mentioned down below in the description section of this video. Now we are going to go ahead and download it for Windows. Now if you want to download it for other operating systems, those options are also available. We have download for Mac OS, then we have download for Linux x64 systems. We have downloadable in deb format for Debian and the distributions that are descendants of Debian like Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi OS, as well as we also have the RPM. So here in our case, we are interested in Windows x64. So I'm just going to go ahead and install this. Okay, it seems that the download has started and it is around 76.2 MB of download. So we will wait for it to finish. And okay, it seems that it has been downloaded. So it must be a setup file. So let us click it and see what it is. Okay, now we have to click this run. It might ask us for admin privileges. I'm not sure. So it should soon launch an installation. Yes. So I accept the agreement. Then I click next. Okay. Visual Studio Code. Next. Let's create a desktop icon. Okay. And let's click next. So we will not actually check any other boxes. So the two boxes that I'm leaving out are add open with code action to Windows Explorer file context menu and add open with code action to Windows Explorer directory context menu. So it means that whenever we are going to click, to be very specific, right click, then it is going to show both these options in the menu. And we really don't want very long menus. That's why I'm not checking these. So let me click next. Now it is going to go ahead and copy the files. And it is going to take a moment to copy the files for this installer. So meanwhile, we can check the website. So here we can see various extensions, and yeah, it has got actually extensions for Python, Jupyter, C, C++, Pylance, ESLint, I'm not sure what it is, Prettier, Code Formatter, Live Server, and Visual Studio IntelliCo something. And there is actually a very good library of introduction videos and all. And there seem to be keyboard shortcuts also for all the actions that we are going to perform with Visual Studio Code. And okay, and there is some privacy policy. So I'm just going to go ahead and click yes, because I find that this documentation is helpful. Okay, so I'm just going to skip it. Okay, and now I'm just going to click finish. So this is the main window of the Visual Studio Code. It will take a moment to appear because I am opening it very first time. Okay, so this is from the earlier installation, I guess, the settings. So this is my project, C++ threads. Basically, it is a directory where we have another subdirectory known as .vs code. So here in this .vs code directory, we save all of our setting files. So basically there are 4 setting files: c_cpp properties.json, launch.json, settings.json, and tasks.json. And here in the master directory, we save all the programs. So this is how we can install and work with Microsoft Visual Studio Code IDE. So we have installed Microsoft Visual Studio Code on our Windows computer. Now let us see how we can link it with our MinGW C and C++ compilers, and how we can compile and execute the sample programs that we have for C and C++. So I have the directory opened here where we have stored our sample programs, and we had executed the same programs manually with GCC and G++ on Cygwin, and we also had used CodeBlocks IDE earlier to execute these programs in a bit automated way. Now I have deleted all the temporary files, the earlier executions generated, so that we can start clean with that. Now in order to open this thing in Visual Studio Code, just copy this entire URL and open any command line interpreter. So you can use either cmd.com, the command prompt of Windows, or PowerShell, or you can use our trusted Cygwin thing. Okay, so I will use Cygwin terminal, or this is related to Microsoft Visual Studio Code, so it will be more appropriate to use PowerShell. Okay, so we are just using the only Microsoft toolchain. So you can also use Cygwin, it is not a problem. So let us mention the entire path or the absolute path of the directory, and let us switch to that directory. Let me clear the screen and type in the command pwd. So this is the present working directory. So now we are in this directory in the command prompt as well as in the file system explorer. Now let me increase the font of PowerShell console So basically you have to keep the control key pressed and then scroll mouse wheel up and down. So I guess it is same across almost all the tools. Now, in order to open this thing with Microsoft Visual Studio Code, I need to type in a command, and that command is code and dot. And if I hit enter, and let me mention this command in the document, see, it has actually opened that entire directory in Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So before I forget, I will mention that command here, code dot. And let me save this document and let me close this document because there is nothing more to be added in this document as of now. So it is asking me, do you trust the authors of the files in this folder? So I will just say, check the box and I will say, yes, I trust the authors, because it might be opening some sort of harmful programs too. So now this entire directory opened in the Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Now I want to link Microsoft Visual Studio Code with GCC or that MinW W64 toolchain, and that is quite easy. So I will go to a sample directory where I have already done the settings, and here we have the directory .vs code. So I'm going to copy this directory. So please don't worry about the availability of this directory because it is available in the GitHub repository that I'm going to mention in the description section of this video. So what's wrong? Let's copy this directory. Let's copy and paste here. So it should paste that .vs code directory. So basically your project should have a directory known as .vs code. Okay, so it is starting with a dot and then vs code. And now if I check in my Visual Studio Code, that directory is visible. So let us open that here. And here you can see the 4 files. So basically I had created 4 files. Those are c_cpp_properties.json, launch.json, settings.json, and tasks.json. So basically these are standard files and they are used to link your compiler with Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So here you are going to mention all the compilers. And here we have the JSON file. So here in the name section, we have Win64 MinGW W64. And here in the compiler path, we have the name of the file, okay, g++.exe compiler path. And here we have the C standard, and here we also have the CPP standard, and IntelliSense mode is Windows GCC x64. Similarly, here we have the launch.json, and here also we have the path. So this CWD is there, and here we have to mention the name of the binary directory for our MinGW W64 setup. Okay, so here we have to mention the debugger path, the gdb.exe. And here we have the settings.json. Basically this settings file will have the editor font size, terminal integrated font size, and debug console font size. So I have set everything to 26, and tasks.json. So here in the task.json, we have the command. Okay, and again we have the CWD here, the path of the binary directory. So you can manually set all these paths, or you can just go ahead and copy this VS Code folder in your directory and then type in code dot in the command prompt by switching to that particular directory in command prompt, and your entire programming environment will be set up. In case you have installed it to non-default location, just make sure that you are going to change this path and it will automatically detect everything else. So this is how we can set up and link the C and C++ compilers of GCC toolchain with Microsoft Visual Studio Code. Now the last thing remaining is that we are supposed to execute that program, and this is the program. Okay, and so should I go ahead and change the font size? What do you say? Let's make it 30 and 30. So let us save it. So all these files are available for download, and the name for or the URL for that download folder and GitHub repository is mentioned in the description section of this episode down below. So please do check the description section so that you can download this file and copy them in your location, and it will be a hassle-free setup for all of you. So now let us switch to that C file. Let us close all the other files. Now I will go and say start debugging, and it is going to go ahead and debug that program. Okay, it says that build finished successfully, and it is building it now. Okay, so it seems that debug console exited normally. Okay, so it has exited with code 0. It means that it was successful. Now we can run this program. Okay, it has already run the program. Okay, and it says hello world. Okay, and we can just go ahead and run. Okay, when we say, I guess, start debugging, it will automatically debug and run the program. And here in the terminal, we can see the output. Okay, and here we have the debug console, and here we have the output in the terminal. So this is how it is executing a C program. And let us close this and let us check the C++ thing. Okay, now it has created one executable file prog00.exe in the setup folder that we have. So I should actually probably delete it so that there shouldn't be any confusion. Now let us open that CPP file, C++ file, and it is also highlighting the syntax. Now I will just click run and say start debugging. So it is again debugging the thing, and okay, now it is going to execute it. Okay, now it has printed hello world, and this is very cool because we can just compile and execute everything in a single go. And here you can see prog00.exe file. So I'll just go ahead and delete that file, and I will say move to recycle bin. Okay, so this is how we can build and run C and C++ programs with Microsoft Visual Studio Code and MinGW W64 GCC toolchain on Windows platform. So this is very convenient for all the users because this way we can demonstrate a lot of C and C++ programs. Now we are going to explore how to compile C and C++ programs on Mac OS. So let us open a new window of the command prompt. So let us try to search for CC or GCC compilers. So CC -- version. So it seems that it has got Apple LLVM version 10.0.0 CLang. So we can even compile a program with CLang -- version. Okay, and let us check for the GCC compiler GCC -- version. Okay, so we can configure this with prefix library developer, and it is also pointing to LLVM compiler. We can even have G++ -- version, and it is also probably pointing to LLVM. Okay, so it is also pointing to LLVM compiler. Now we are going to see Xcode IDE. So Apple's Mac OS comes with Xcode IDE, or you can also install it. So if you want to install it, you can just copy this command, xcode -select -install. Let's paste it and let's hit enter. So it says error, command line tools are already installed. Use software update to install the updates. So it seems that the Xcode IDE is already installed and I already have it here on my desktop. You can also find it in the Launchpad. So I'm just going to launch it from Launchpad. So let us create a new Xcode project. So here we can choose what sort of project we need to create. And I'm going to say Mac OS and command line tool. Next is the language. I'm going to use C language and product name is test. And I'm going to click next. And let us say create. Okay. So let us go to the earlier directory and here we can create it. Okay. And here we have the main.c file. And here we can choose the compiler. Default C source. And okay. And yes. So we can just go ahead and build it. Okay, it says build failed. So let us say default C source. And it says build was successful. And here we can see the output. So here we have the output, hello world. And it says program ended with successful exit code 0. So just now we have seen how to compile and successfully run a C program with Xcode IDE. So I have just figured out how to change the font size of everything here in the Xcode IDE. For that we need to go to Xcode, then we need to go to preferences. So in preferences, choose the theme that you have and then select everything. Okay. So press the shift key and click the last entry in this. Okay. So here this is your theme and this is the default light theme. And then I have chosen everything here. So I just press shift key and then while it is pressed, I click the last option here. So it shows it everything. Now here we can go and here we can click the font option and we can change the font here as per our convenience. So earlier I had 32 and now I'm changing it to 28. So this is how we can change the font in Xcode editor. So I will just save everything and I will just exit. Okay. So now we have exited from the Xcode. Again, let us learn how to create a sample C++ project. So create a new Xcode project. Again, choose command line tool. Click next. Project name test1 and here you can choose C++. If you click next again, it is going to ask you for the location. So I'm just going to click create and it is going to create an empty C++ project in that directory. Basically, it is going to create a directory known as test1 in that and it is going to create a empty main.cpp file. Now here we can say default C++ source and we can just click here the build option. So now it is building it. Now the build is successful, and let us try to execute it again. Okay, so it automatically executed while building it, and it reads hello world. So this is the output. It reads hello world. So I have just realized that the font size in this output window is also small. So let us try to change that. So let us go to the Xcode. Let us go to the preferences, and here we had actually changed the font size for the source editor. We can even go to the console option and we can choose everything. Just keep the shift key pressed and then click the last option here, and it is going to choose everything. And let's go to the fonts and colors, and there should be actually an option for fonts. So I'm just going to say, let's make it 20. Okay, so now everything is cool. And let's close this. Let's close this also. And here we have everything in very big font. All right, let us see how to compile and execute C and C++ programs on a Linux system. So I have my trusted Raspberry Pi computer as the preferred Linux distribution. I have installed Raspbian or Raspberry Pi OS, which is a distribution, or it is a derivative of Debian distribution of Linux. Now the commands and the steps to compile and execute will be same on any Linux computer. So we are going to use two compilers. The first one is GCC -- version is going to return us the version of GCC compiler we are using. So GCC stands for GNU Compiler Collection, and by default it accepts and compiles C programs. Now I already have a C program. So cat prog 00.c. So this is a simple C program that I'm going to compile now. So the steps to compile it are very simple. Type in GCC -WALL. It means enable all the warnings. -std. Now we are going to tell the compiler what standard is to be used. We want to use C2X standard. So it is an informal standard. As of now, it hasn't been codified yet. So it may change in near future. And then we have to provide it the name of program file, prog00.c, and we can also let it know the name of the executable file. So -o and a.out. So by default also the name of executable that it generates is a.out. And if I hit enter, it is going to compile it and it is going to generate that a.out file. So ls-l a.out. So this a.out file has been generated, and the program was very simple thing, hello world, and I'm going to execute it now. So to execute it, we have to say ./a.out and it will execute it. You can see here output hello world. So this is how we can compile and execute a C program on Linux with GCC. So let me clear it. We can also combine a C++ program and run it with this GCC. So for that, the name of compiler is G++, and we can check the version. So let us go ahead and compile the C++ program that we have, prog00.cpp. So this is the C++ program. It just goes ahead and prints hello world. Now to compile it, we will reuse the earlier command. We will just go ahead and modify it. So the name of program is cpp. Since this is C++, we have to use C++ standard. So C++ 20 is the latest standard and G++. And if I hit enter, it is going to compile it. and generate a.out file. And we can again check the timestamp of a.out like this. Just go ahead and execute a.out file. And here we have the output hello world. Now this was a Linux operating system with G++ and GCC. We can also use another Unix-like operating system. It is known as FreeBSD. So FreeBSD-version. And we are using 13.0 release P5 of FreeBSD. Now the FreeBSD has got CC and C++ as compilers. So I can say CC --version. And here we have the CLang as the backend. Now I already have copied both the C and C++ files in this system using file transfer protocol. Now compilation steps are very easy. We will just copy the earlier command. This command we are going to copy. And let us paste it here. And we will just remove the G part. CC, enable all warnings and use 2x standard for C programming. And that is the program file and a.out. So it is compiling it. It has finished compiling it. And let us check a.out. See, it is showing us hello world. It may be a bit difficult for us to see because of the color and all is same for the prompt as well as the output. Similarly, we can use the C++ utility. So let me copy the command. Let's clear the screen. And the compiler name is C++ in FreeBSD and Unix-like operating systems --version. And it is also using CLang as a backend. Let us paste the command and modify it. So it is C++ -wall std C++20 prog 00.cpp -o a.out. And if I enter it, okay, it has compiled and generated the executable file a.out. And here we have the output. So this is how we can compile and execute C and C++ programs with various C compilers on Unix-like operating systems like Debian and FreeBSD. So let us discuss the last part of this entire episode. Now in this part, we are going to discuss a few free and open source editors for C and C++ programming. So I have already got a list here. So this list has got two extra editors. The first one is Geany, and you can install that editor for Windows and Mac OS by visiting this particular URL on your browser. So here in the download section, you will find the installables for Windows and Mac OS. You will also find the installable source, and you can obviously always build from the source for any Unix-like or Linux system. And we can actually install it on any BSD variant or any Unix-like OpenBSD stuff using this command sudo pkg install geany-y. So let me show you sample installation. And it is going to install Geany IDE on this FreeBSD. So let it go ahead and install. Meanwhile, we can explore that Geany IDE on Windows. So here I have already got it installed on my Windows computer, and we are going to open it now. And we will open a couple of sample files that we have recently seen. So I will go to the local version of the GitHub repository. So it is at d: and my GitHub. and here in the C++ tutorial setup. So here I have a sample C program, which I'm going to go ahead and build. So here it is automatically detecting the GCC compiler on my system here. And if I go ahead and click run, then it is going to run and shows the output. Okay, I guess there is some problem while running this program here on Windows. We are going to see a sample execution on Linux. So it is asking us to go ahead and install it. Okay, so we are going to upgrade it an already installed version on FreeBSD. So it is obviously going to take some time for download and install. Meanwhile, let me log in to my Raspberry Pi where I have got it installed. So Genie comes with Raspberry Pi OS by default. We don't have to install it. So let me search for my Raspberry Pi computer. So it is going to run a network scan and it is going to show us the results. And we will be able to see the IP address of the Raspberry Pi that is running Raspberry Pi OS. So the IP address of the Raspberry Pi that is running Raspberry Pi OS is 102. So let us go and visit that IP address using a remote SSH client like this. And it is 2. Let us say Pi, because the username here is Pi. And I'm going to say the password Raspberry. So let me clear the screen and let us go and open Genie IDE for Linux and Unix like systems. So ls-l, and we have here a C and C++ file. So we are going to use those two files to demonstrate the capabilities of Genie IDE on Linux. So we are going to use the X11 forwarding facility in Linux. So we can just go to the file, open, and it is going to show us the current directory. And we have C and C++ files stored in the current directory. So let me double click it and let me increase the size of font. So I can just hold the control key and scroll the mouse button and we can increase the font like that. So I can just go ahead and build it by using this symbol. Okay, so it is some sort of transformation symbol and it says gcc-wall-c prog00.c and compilation finished successfully. Now we can just go ahead and run this. Now it is going to execute it and we can see here a console window that is printing the output hello world. So the font is very small, but we can definitely see the output. So I want you to go ahead and try this editor on your Linux distribution. So let us open a C++ file and let us build it and then run it. So this is a sample C++ program. Let us compile the current file and it says g++-wall-c prog00.cpp. Compilation finished successfully. And if I click this gear symbol, it will execute that generated executable. And here it is printing hello world. So let me close it. And let me close this Genie window. So basically we have explored the Genie code editor in this section of our episode on GCC compiler. And the final text-based editor that I want to demo you is Nano Editor. It is very good editor for beginners. It is not very complex and it is text-based. So no X11 forwarding, no unintended errors and anything at all. So this is what you see is what you get editor, and it has got actually rudimentary code highlighting also. So you can definitely work with that. And even in the Raspberry Pi, we have Nano Editor. See here, we have the Nano Editor in the Raspberry Pi, and it seems that it has got a bit more colors than the FreeBSD one. And we have even Nano Editor in Mac OS. So in case you are running anything with Mac OS installed on it, or any other earlier version of Mac operating system which had names OS X and Mac OS X, then you can definitely go ahead and use the Nano Editor. So I have already mentioned all the commands for installation of Genie Editor as well as Nano Editor on FreeBSD, on Debian, Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi as well as Mac OS. So let me go ahead and mention sudo port install Nano. So Nano should be installed by default, but in case it is not installed, you can definitely install it with all these commands. So this is all about the GCC compiler on platforms like Windows, Mac OS, Linux and FreeBSD. So we have had a very good tour of all the compilers of GCC program for all these operating systems. We have also explored the IDEs like Genie, Nano, Microsoft Visual Studio Code and Code Blocks, as well as Xcode for Mac OS. So I think that armed with this knowledge, now we are comfortable in getting started with C and C++ programming on Windows, Mac OS, Linux and FreeBSD platforms. So thanks a lot for watching this video lecture. In case you are looking for this document as well as all the sample programs that we are executing and demonstrating in this video lecture, you can visit the description section of this episode down below, and you will find the URL to the GitHub repository where you will find every detail of this video session. In case you have any questions or queries, please do let me know in the comment section of this video. Thanks a lot. Please do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel where I'm going to upload many more videos on C, C++, Java, Python, Linux, Unix and shell programming. Thanks a lot once again, and I will see you next time.